Hello there. So I'm going to teach how to do what's called the stacked double crochet. It's basically doing 2 rows in one stitch. It's considered a pattern stitch where you use multiple stitches to form one type of stitch. This is what it looks like, and I'm going to be finishing a row with this piece here and showing how to turn and start a new row. So starting, now this is to be able to do this stitch, you'll need to know how to do, for anybody who's like a beginner, to do a starting loop, a chain stitch, and a single crochet. I don't like to teach multiple stitches in one tutorial, so if you would like to know how to learn how to do the single crochet, then I will put a link in the description, because I do tutorials on all kinds of stitches, and I create stitches as well. I learned this stitch from the great channel Nastasia. I'll put a link in the description to her channel. She has great, easy to follow tutorials of many types of stitches of crochet. So basically you're going to start with the chain. Let's say if you want to do 10 stitches, then you're going to have 11 because you always have an extra for the working chain. And what you're going to do is basically you're going to do 4 single crochets on top of each other. Now do keep in mind that there is some variances on stitches, just especially if you're a new beginner. You may not know this, like what they call single crochet and double crochet in the UK is different than American crochet stitches, just so you're aware of that in case you weren't already. Okay, so basically I'm going to go down into here and create my first single crochet. Then I'm going to work into this same right here, this front side right here is what I'm going to be working to the next single crochet. So this is single crochet number 2. Now I'm going to do number 3. Don't wrap around. It's a single. Whoop. And I would recommend make sure your stitches are not tight. It'll be harder to do this stitch. Maybe even start with a bigger yarn. Acrylic yarn has tendency to split a little bit more. There you go. Now let's do number 3. Doing the same thing. Going in this front post here. And the last one, doing the same thing. Remember, you're working from this same stitch where the yarn's coming out of, going down into that. Probably should be using a little bit smaller of a hook, which I didn't mention. Okay, now you kind of have like an L. Now, when you start, you're not going to go down here to the bottom. You're going to go almost like to the second. And so like when you turn and you do the next chain, you wouldn't work into here because you wouldn't work into this one because that's the one that your work's coming out of. So it's like the same concept here. You're not going to work into here because that's like the beginning where it comes from. So you're going to go basically to the one above that. You're going to go in this front post here. You're going to wrap around and go through it, but do not bring up through that loop. Okay, so we'll find that front post right here. Go through it, but don't bring up through. Then we're going to wrap around again. Whichever direction you go, some people do it differently. Then you're going to go into the next chain, not where you got this work coming from, but the next chain. Wrap around, bring up through. Oh, this yarn wants to split. This is really soft baby yarn, so probably not the best work. Try using this. Wrap around and bring through 2. Wrap around and bring, through 2. Wrap around and bring through 2, and wrap around and bring through 2. And so that is your first stitch, which will end up, now I'm going to switch to this, because basically doing that, it will end up looking like this. Now I'm going to show how to turn your work and start a new row using this pattern stitch. Okay, on the last stitch of this row, excuse me, so I'm going to wrap around and find my prominent diagonal right there. This is the prominent diagonal. I'm going to go in front of that, wrap around and go through that, but do not come up through. Wrap around again. Then you're going to go into the next stitch, wrap around and bring up through, and you have 5 on the hook. Get that nice orderly there. And I like to hang on to this one here that's not a complete loop like the rest of these are. Wrap around and go through the first 2. Wrap around and go through the next 2. Wrap around, go through the next 2, and wrap around and go through the next 2. Now, normally, out of habit, you're going to chain 1 before you turn your work. You do not do that with this stitch. So you just turn your work, and then you're going to do the same exact thing, working into that first thing and create your, so instead of, you know, like having a chain, now you have like a regular stitch to start with. You just do the same thing you did with the chain. And that's how you do the stackable double crochet stitches. I hope that was helpful. I have other tutorials. I will put a link in the description to my playlist of, I have crafts, I have acrylic pour painting, I have knitting loom crochet hybrid stitches, I have stitches that I've created, and then other stitches. I will put the link to the single crochet for those who do not know how to do that. I appreciate your feedback, and if you're not somebody who interacts, then anyways, thanks for watching, and I hope you have a blessed day. Bye!